Hey mathematicians, we're going to do lesson 2.7 today on units of time. Our objective or our target for today's lesson is to convert units of time to smaller units of time and then be able to take that and solve number stories involving time. Okay, we're going to be doing our lesson a little bit different today. It's in an ed puzzle. The nice thing about this is as I'm teaching, you're going to stop and be answering some questions throughout the video. So please watch carefully, and then when you're presented with a question, do your best to answer your questions. I will get to see your responses. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing, is doing that for our mental math. So for your mental math today, what is the value of the digit? You're going to be given some questions that are going to ask you, what is the value of the 5 in 12,510? And you're going to respond. What is the value of the 3 in 432,756? And what is the value of the 1 in 1,682,041? And you're going to answer those questions right here in Ed Puzzle. Okay, moving on. Now we're getting into talking about units of time. For our math message today, I want you to think about, does it take you 2 minutes or 120 seconds to brush your teeth? Respond to that question. All right, you probably thought it doesn't matter. It could take me 2 minutes or 120 seconds because they are the same amount. If we look at our conversion chart here, we have minutes on the top, we have seconds on the bottom. 2 minutes is the same as 120 seconds. And that's because we know 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. And that's probably a review for you. Okay, so then thinking about the next question, does it take you closer to 1 hour or 600 minutes to clean your room? Looking at 1 hour would be 60 minutes, and 600 minutes would be 10 hours. I guess it depends on how messy your room is, but hopefully it's not going to take you 10 hours to clean your room. Hopefully it's only going to take you 1 hour or 60 minutes. So the other conversion we need to know today is that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. All right, now knowing those two things, we're going to be converting hours, minutes, and seconds. We're going to do a little bit of this work together. I'm going to ask you to answer a couple of questions by yourself, and then we're going to use it to solve some number stories. All right, so let's just focus on this first chart. 1 hour, we just said, was equal to 60 minutes. If 1 hour is 60 minutes, then how would we figure out what 2 hours is? Well, we can say 60 plus 60, or we can say 2 times 60 will give us 120 minutes. Adding another 60, adding another hour. 3 times 60 going to give us 180 minutes. 5, notice it skipped 2 hours, so we can't just add another 60, but we need 5 60s, or 5 times 6 is 30, with the 0 on the end makes 300 minutes. And then it does it for 7. So 7 times 6 is 42, with the 0 on the end. It's going to give us 420 minutes. That's our conversion chart. All right, now thinking about, we know 1 minute is 60 seconds, then how would we figure out how much 4 minutes is? Well, just like we did in the last chart, we can think about how we would multiply by 60. 4 times 60, well, 4 times 6 is 24 with the 0 on the end, 240. 5 times 60, 5 times 6 is 30, with the 0 on the end, makes 300 seconds in 5 minutes. Skips again, so 8 times 60. 8 times 6 is 48, with the 0 on the end, 480 seconds. And 9 times 60. 9 times 6 is 54, so with the 0 on the end, it's 540 seconds. You'll be using these charts to help you in your number story, so make sure you're filling them in. Okay, now getting a little more challenging, what if we were moving backwards or taking our minutes and turning them into hours? Well, I know there's 60 minutes in every hour. So how am I going to figure out how much 600 minutes would be? Well, I can take 600 minutes and I can divide it by 60, or I can say how many times does 60 fit into 600? Well, I know that 60 times 10 will give me another 0 on the end, so it'll be 600. So 10 hours, or 10 times 60, will give us 600 minutes. Now we're given 15 minutes. We need to do 15 times 60. Whew. Well, 15 times 6, I know 15 times 2 is 30. I can do that 3 times and get 90 and then add my 0 so that it's 900. So if we know that 10 hours is 600 minutes, I'm looking up here, if I know 10 hours is 600 minutes, how can I use that to help me figure out what 21 hours would be? I'm thinking I could double that to get 20 hours. And so double, it would be 1,200. But that's not my final answer because I need one more hour. So I need 60 more minutes. So I'm going to add 60 more to that number to end up with 1,260 as my final minutes equal to 21 hours. That one was a challenge. Now, I just said that if I know that 20 hours was double the 10, or it was 1,200 minutes, how could I figure out 40? I could double it again. So 1,200, if I double that, I'm going to have 2,400 minutes. And I can check my answer by saying, well, 40 times 60 is 4 times 6 is 24, 2 zeros. Putting 2 zeros at the end gives it 2,400. Do the same thing for 60 times 60. 6 times 6 is 36. 2 zeros, 3,600 minutes in 60 hours. These are going to be on your journal page that you fill out at the end. So you will want to go back and think about what are all these conversions we did and how do we get those responses. All right, so then we know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. So how do we figure out 11 minutes? Well, 11 times 60, 11 times 6 is 66 with a 0 on the end. 14 times 60, this is another tricky one, but we figured out over here 15 times 60 was 900. So 14 times 60 is just going to be 60 less than that. So it's going to be 840. 22 times 60. Again, we knew 20 times 60 we had down here was 1,200. So we can say 1,200 plus 60 plus 60. So I'm going to make a note of that so I don't forget my thinking. Plus 60 plus 60. That's my 2 more minutes I'm adding on there. I'm going to end up with 1,320 as my total seconds. So if I had 1,500 seconds, how many minutes would that be? I have to divide that by 60 or think, well, how many times is that going to fit in 1,500? Let's just think about it. Well, how many times would 60 fit into 150? 60 plus 60 is 120. Plus another 60 would be 180. Okay, so it's going to be at least somewhere between 22 and 30. I can add up from the 1,320. If we added another 60, we'd be at 1,380. My pencil is way too thick. If we added another 60, we'd be at 1,440. We add one more 60, we're going to be at 1,500. So I added 1, 2, 3 more 60s to 22, so it's going to be 25. And then 30 times 60, 3 times 6 is 18, 2 zeros, 1,800. Whew, that was a lot of thinking, but that's how we go about converting from hours to minutes or minutes to seconds. And we can use that to help us with our number stories, the next part. But first, you're going to stop and you're going to answer one more question and do some of your own converting, a couple of questions to do some of your own converting as practice. Okay, using these conversions to help us solve number stories. Eric spent 4 minutes and 45 seconds looking for a healthy snack before he decided on a banana. Then he spent 2 minutes and 20 seconds eating it. How many more seconds did it take for him to find the banana, then to eat it? Okay, what's our first step here? We have to think about the time it took him to eat the banana and the time it took him to find it. So we're going to subtract the amount of time it took him to eat it away from the time it took him to find it. So he spent 4 minutes and 45 seconds finding it. And we need to take away the amount of time it took to eat him, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Because it says how many more, so I'm subtracting. 25 seconds and 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 25 seconds longer. Now, wait a minute. The question says, how many seconds? So now that we know the number of minutes and seconds, we could use our measurement scale to figure out how many seconds are in 2 minutes. Or maybe we know that we can take 2 times 60 to figure that out. But I'm going to look back at our measurement scale. And 2 minutes was equal to 120 seconds. So instead of having 2 minutes here, to convert it to seconds, I'm going to say I've got 120 seconds and another 25 seconds. So that all together, he spent 145 seconds longer finding the banana than eating the banana. That would be my final answer. Okay, you're going to try a number story now, solving an on-ed puzzle, thinking about this one. Jasmine ran the Chicago Marathon in 4 hours and 18 minutes. She ran the Boston Marathon in 4 hours and 32 minutes. How many minutes did she spend running marathons? I want you to stop, get a piece of scrap paper and a pencil, write down the math that you would do to figure out how long she spent altogether, and then make sure you've converted it to minutes, remembering that there are 60 minutes in every hour. Okay, now that you've solved that, now I'm going to show you how you should have gone about doing it. You would have taken your 4 hours and 18 minutes and added that together with your 4 hours and 32 minutes. And altogether, you could have said that she spent 8 hours and 50 minutes running marathons. Now we needed to take it and convert it into minutes completely. Again, we could use our conversion charts. Let's see if I had, nope, I didn't have 8 on there, but I do have 8 on here. 8 hours is equal to 480 minutes. So 8 hours, 480 minutes plus the other 50 minutes to figure out the total number of minutes would have been 530 minutes that she spent running marathons. I hope that's the answer that you got too. For your practice assignment today in Canvas, you're going to solve some more number stories on page 50. That's the Canvas page I've loaded for you. And the second page of your work today is going to help you to review drawing lines, line segments, rays, and angles. So please do that to keep us fresh on our skills. And then make sure you submit your work back to Canvas. Thanks, guys.